Sam, and not only him as a speaker, but in hosting us in this beautiful office to talk about his experience and the experience of Nodalview in how to approach product management, how to approach AI and their journey through the experiments they've made to be successful with that. So without further ado, I give you Sam.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Thanks a lot for coming here. Really glad to do this talk. Just to give you a small introduction, I'd like to say that when I prepared this speech, I really wanted to do something authentic, transparent, and more about what we tried and failed, rather than trying to give you a playbook of this is how you should implement AI in your company. So yeah, this will be more about things we tried. Decision that looked smart on paper but failed ultimately, and finally what made AI work for us. So just a quick word of introduction about myself. So I'm Sam, I'm a product manager at Nodalview for a bit less than 2 years now, and I've been working in SaaS, startup and scale-up for around 10 years. I have a background in finance, in entrepreneurship, but I ended up in product at Nodalview. And what is Nodalview? It is the all-in-one solution for your real estate marketing. That's the official definition. My personal definition is that it is an app for a real estate agent to shoot awesome pictures with their phones, and then to do a bunch of stuff with AI to improve the quality of image, do video, do floor plans, do anything you need to really make your property stand out. And just to give you an example, to really make that you understand what Nodalview does, this is a classic picture that you could shoot with an iPhone 13. And with Nodalview, what we are going to do is correct the perspective, improve the brightness, reduce the noise, and do a bunch of stuff really to improve your picture. But then we're also going to use AI to really help people who look for a property to project themselves in that apartment. And then we are going to do some home staging, for example.
Je suis en rendez-vous, mais je ne sais pas si ça va durer 2 heures. Non.
So it looks a bit more inviting.
Ça risque d'être un peu lent pour moi.
We live in Belgium, so it's pretty useful to be able to change the sky, you know. And so all of this to really help real estate agents to make a difference on the IMO platform. And to give you an idea of the size of Nodalview, we are a company of around 50 employees.
Et donc ça voudrait dire que je dois aller à la concession après pour
and we are on a journey to
changer la roue.
Okay. Not gonna say where in that journey.
Okay.
We're on this journey.
Bah écoutez, oui, envoyez-moi quelqu'un pour réparer le pneu.
Et
puis j'irai demain à la concession alors.
Across the years, and we really had different phases.
Merci.
The first one was actually before 2020, where we bootstrapped. So we bootstrapped the company without funding and so on, and then we've been VC backed. And so there, the objective was clear. It was grow as fast as possible, growth at all costs. Then we went to another phase where the goal was to be break-even, so to be profitable again, so that after that we could be in the third phase where we can reinvest our growth. Maybe that's a scheme that you have already seen in a SaaS scale-up because it's pretty standard to, after the VC back phase, to go back to profitability. And so that's what we followed a bit. And this context is quite important because that helped us to make some choices that we did with AI. But the real topic of today is our AI journey and how we really implemented it at Nodalview. So yeah, to give a bit of context here, we were already doing AI a few years ago, but not in the sense that we hear it today. We are doing computer vision. And so what is computer vision? It's really improving images, photo, based on smart calculation and on computation. And so when we decided to do this switch to AI, it was not because everyone was doing it, it was already a bit at the core of our product offering. And so for us, it was making sense to try to do it ourselves. But yeah, spoiler alert, this did not work well, because what we did around 2023 is that we hired one very strong academic profile in computer vision / AI. And what went wrong is that this profile was very strong, very academic, but isolated. And therefore the progress was really slow, really fragile, and she was really lacking this, this challenge from other peers in that area. And also for the context, it was at that time that generative AI, ChatGPT, was coming, and an academic profile to work with generative AI is not the best match. The academic profile was really good for traditional AI, but for generative AI, you need more of a hacker profile who's really going to test plenty of models, who's going to be really passionate. And so there was this kind of mismatch over there. But what we did in parallel is that we implemented off-the-shelf models. So it was really solutions that were already existing, and we plugged it in Nodalview, we white labeled it, and we could make our users try it. So to give you an example, we did that with the magic eraser. So the magic eraser is that you take a picture, and there are a few things that you want to remove. So we plugged the model that was able to just brush the things that you want to remove, and then it looked cleaner. And so that was a super interesting thing to do, because it helped us to validate the appetite from our users for this kind of tool. But the problem with that was that the margins were super low. So it was costing a lot of money, and the margins were really not really interesting. And so at that time, we could say that our AI vision was pretty much non-existent. What happened is that we had fierce competition from other actors who are really AI native, and in the end we were just responding to feature requests that our users had, because they could see that the competition was doing it. And so we were a bit in a kind of a panic over there, and so yeah, we were really late compared to those AI native, because those companies were born over there, and we were scale up from 2016. And so it was a bit a hard time for us. And so that brings us to the phase 2, where we were like, okay, now it is time to hire like real experts. We are going to bring a super solid AI consulting company with like really smart people and strong credentials, people who already did a lot of AI projects. And yeah, it was also mostly a failure. And to explain a bit what we did, we thought that we did things that were right, in the sense that we really tried to define a super concrete outcome. The outcome was home staging, and so home staging is to be able to furnish a room that is empty, just like I showed a bit earlier. And we wrote extremely detailed requirements about what we wanted. We aligned upfront on the feasibility. And one thing also that they did that we thought was a bad thing to do is that they onboarded our AI expert that we had at that time. So she could take over when they left the company. So on paper, it looked pretty good. But what went wrong is simply that they couldn't deliver what they promised. I'm going to show you some examples so you can realize. But the delivery simply did not match our expectations at all. And just to show you, so you have an empty room, and we are saying like, okay, just give us furniture about this. And we had this kind of result that are super blurry. We don't even understand if it's a bed or a sofa. Honestly, it doesn't make any sense. They had really big issues also to understand the dimensions of the room. So we could have things like that it's even hard to understand. And so, yeah, the quality was just really bad. And despite maybe the reasons behind that failure is that they were actually trying to do something that they had never done before. And so they were experts, but not in that specific field. And so they thought that they could solve this issue by putting a certain amount of hours of work, but it simply didn't work out for us. And also one other reason, super important to explain it was a failure, is that it cost us a lot of money. But what still worked is that our AI expert that I talked about since the beginning, she finally had this challenge and this mentoring that she was absolutely missing. So for her, it was really full of learning, but it's quite expensive for coaching. So maybe a key learning for us at that time, and that maybe I can share with you, is that if you hire experts, make sure they already have shipped what they promise, challenge their expertise deeply, and write a rock-solid contract that has to be outcome-based and not time mission based. And yeah, regarding our AI vision with this second phase, we are still considering AI more as an add-on, but not really at the core, a product pillar for us. But still, we could launch two features that were the magic eraser that I talked about and the home staging, but not internalized from other solution that we plugged. So, as I explained, it was really high cost and low margins. And so that brings us to the phase 3. Because after those two failures, we tried a different approach, and it was something that we really had the ambition to do. We acquired two companies, and that is what finally worked for us, but not only because we simply acquired companies, but for all the rest that it implied. Just to remind a bit the context, we were in this phase where we were profitable again, and we had the ambition to reinvest that growth. And so it's just important to understand that it was a whole making part of a plan. And also there is a kind of a nuance about the real estate market, is the fact that it is super fragmented, so there are a lot of actors, but it's also quite prone to consolidation. So for us, it was making a lot of sense to search for other actors to join forces. And so we acquired Flash and ProperShot. Just to understand, Flash, they were a super small, super agile and entrepreneurial team that were best in class in generative AI for real estate. And so it was making a lot of sense for us to work with them, whereas the context is quite different for ProperShot, which was our biggest competitor in France. So this was more an opportunistic move, whereas this one, it was more about a product strategy. And one thing also to understand is that Flash, on its own, to make a real estate visual, it was not really sticky enough for their users, but when they are part of a suite like Nodalview, it was making much more sense. So just to understand a bit the context of this acquisition. And why this finally worked for us, it's not because we simply buy AI, but we bought a team that was already shipping AI daily, who had real customers, who had real constraints, and they had a deep understanding of the use case that our users had. So it was totally different than just buying a technology. We really joined forces and learned a lot from each other. And this is where AI really started to make value for us. But why was it risky at that time? Because acquisition is super complex and time consuming. And it's when we think about our CEO, he was really in touch with other founders, with the competition. My CEO was really like having a coffee every 6 months with the founder of Flash and ProperShot. And so that really helped to have something a bit more, a good basis for an acquisition. But also, you have to convince them to take over their baby, and this can be really complicated. And yeah, you have to make them understand that with synergies, it will be a better future. So it's not to underestimate, because even after all of this, after all of the paperwork and so on, you still have to retain the talents. Because in AI, if the brain behind the technology leaves, you're pretty much dead in 6 months. So it's a whole challenge to make sure that the people are going to stay in the company. And what we did well, in my opinion, is that we invested deeply in the people. So Flash and ProperShot, they are in France, and we quickly did like a gathering of everyone in Belgium so that we could see each other face to face. We traveled a lot in Paris and so on, doing team buildings, and that really helped to integrate the people. But next to that, we did a whole reorganization of the teams, of the structure, of the processes. So it was not just people coming in, it was really making sure that they were part of Nodalview. But still, this is around here, so we still have current and upcoming challenges. The first one is to make sure that we don't have a feature factory, because today we have 3 platforms and we have to sunset 2 of them to only keep Nodalview. And so it's a huge product challenge to see how we can really integrate those solutions and that it all makes sense in the end for our users. Then we have to migrate the users of those companies into Nodalview without revenue loss, hopefully. And then in the end, we still have to retain the talent. So it's really a lot of challenges, but we could see that in the end, that's what really worked for us. And now, when we look at the AI vision, maybe vision is not really the good word, especially at the loop. Maybe you have strict definition of what it is, but the way we perceive AI is totally different, because now it's really at the core of our product offering. It's included in every solution feature that we offer. But it was also mainly a cultural change, like to make sure that a few years ago we were late, and that now AI is really deeply rooted into Nodalview, was a culture change, and we had to move from this kind of AI as a feature to AI as foundation. But still, I wanted to have a bit of a part of this presentation about what if you are not in the same position as us. I said at the beginning that, embracing AI is quite unique for each company. So what if you are not in this position of acquiring another company? There are still lessons that we learned before. And the first one is that integrating off-the-shelf solutions, so existing solution before building, is a really good way to validate the appetite. It's quite easy to use APIs to look different providers and so on. And even if it's expensive at the beginning, it can validate the adoption. And then when the volume is too high, it's interesting to build it in-house. Then regarding experts, I think it's super interesting to have them as coaches frequently, but to completely outsource the delivery of a solution might be a bit risky. And if you do it, you really have to to challenge the expertise on this. A third thing we did is that we were constantly on the look for new technology. So it's not because we have a good model today that it will be the case in 6 months. So you have to do this kind of very technologic, like to always be on the lookout for what is the next thing to do. And you need to scan the market. Then a hard lesson for us is to be model agnostic. Because if you are too dependent on an off-the-shelf model, if this model just is deprecated or disappears, then you're in a big trouble. And so we experienced that. And so it's quite easy to do an API to connect yourself to another platform. So make the effort to diversify your providers to be in a more secure position. And this last point is interesting because we all know the big brand models and they are super powerful, but you really have modes that are created thanks to good UX, good UI, and workflow that work specifically for your users. And so, you can always make it like more convenient for your user by tailoring the user experience. And what I would say is that like when we look at a few years ago, we were really like super late, like in competition with companies that were AI native, and we were like, okay, we have to do something about it. We had like no AI vision at all, and now thanks to the right culture change, I would say, and the right strategic acquisition, we really are in a position where we deliver solutions that are in advance in compared to the competition. And I think that we failed at AI twice, not because we were bad in technology, but because we underestimated a bit the effort to make this structural change and to make really AI a pillar in your company. And once we accepted that, we started to make the right decisions. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Sam.
My pleasure.
Very nice to hear your story of mixing AI and also building, buying, and partnering, and how that can support product strategy. So as usual, I'll have a few questions for Sam. They'll give you time to think about your questions and what you want to ask Sam, and then we'll pass around the mic for your questions. Sounds good? And then we'll get pizza, if I'm not mistaken, after that. Yeah. So we're just standing between you and pizza. Good. Maybe the first one I have for you, Sam, is you've mentioned your experience in trying to do it by yourself, right? And now you have the experience of having acquired a company and successfully rolling out AI models. So with today's knowledge, what would be the advice you give to your previous self trying to do it by yourself, and maybe advice that others can take?
But I think it's a bit related to what I said about maybe underestimating the actual effort it is to make that change, especially if you are in a company that was founded in 2016. To make a change to be at the same level of AI native company is a huge change, and in the end it's really more about the people than just the technology, because the technology anyone can really just plug to an existing solution, but in the end you really need the skills in-house to make sure that you'll be able to retrain, improve, and be more in a comfortable position on the long term.
Okay. And what would be your advice in picking your first problem to solve? Like, where would you start? What would be your advice there?
On specifically about Nodalview,
with AI for a company. AI, how would you think about that?
But the problematic, I would say, like in AI, was really to make sure, for example, at Nodalview, that we had the first thing that ignited a bit the march was like we have super strong competition. We see models appearing everywhere, and with discovery, we realized that people had this appetite for the fact that you project yourself in a property you have not seen yet. And with a bit of experience with this, we realized that it was a key problem for our users, and especially for the clients of our users. And so that was really the problematic we had to focus on, and where the potential for AI was huge.
Yeah. So it's really identifying a real customer problem and then seeing if AI is the best way to solve for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. And then, so you've gone through an acquisition of a company that had skills that you didn't have in-house. Right? So how did you think about a bit of the due diligence around making sure you were acquiring, because it was an acqui-hire ultimately what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Partly.
Yeah.
So how did you think about the skills that you were acquiring and assessing them?
No, that's a good question, because ultimately we didn't have the skills in-house, but what was easy in the acquisition is that we could really compare their result with other results or with what we try to do in-house. So we didn't have the skills to do it, but it was easy to compare and to see if their results were good or at the level that we wanted.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Anyone has a question? It's always, Claudio, I'm just going to give you my mic so that we can record you. You'll still have to speak loud, as you know.
Thanks, Sam. Just a question related to the organization. So the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, the beginning, the two first experiments, it's mostly people outside working in isolation somehow, either in the agency or this expert. And then the product organization kind of trying to grasp whatever they're doing. And in this new third attempt, you're bringing people in, right? And you're trying to make them part of the team and being really part of the company. How has your product organization shifted in the way you make decisions, the way you organize development in general, with embedding these new teams inside, and the way that it evolved by having them externally and now really being part of the team? Yeah,
but that's a really good question, and that has been a huge challenge for us to restructure the team after the acquisition. So before the acquisitions, as you said, we didn't have a real AI team, and we do now. And so that's a bit the structural change that made in the end AI work for us, is to stop working with one AI expert or with external companies, but to make sure that we have actual processes that work for us. And so now we have an AI team, we have PM that work with this team, and the AI devs are not working in isolation anymore. So there's really something that is working now that we didn't have in the past. But yeah, it required a whole overview of the process and to build those processes that we didn't have before.
Always, maybe if you can share one fundamental change that you did in the organization that you feel today it's working.
One fundamental change that we did is that it's actually the structure, the process that we had in other teams. So to be super concrete, in web and mobile team, because Nodalview is about having a mobile app and a web app, we had those rituals that we didn't have with the AI team because it was a single person. So it's just about giving the structure of a weekly stand-up at the beginning of the week, to organize sprint, to have a clear outcome for each sprint, really to have, in the end, to have the same structure in AI that you have in traditional product management. With the nuance that AI works differently, that you need more testing, that in the end, with off-the-shelf solution, you can easily put solutions on the market and get a ton of feedback. And yeah, this feedback, it's absolutely key to understand how you can improve it and so on. And in the end, yeah, your users become your QA and let you know how to improve your model. Yeah?
How do you get your...
I think you need the mic.
Sorry, if you don't mind, just grabbing it.
No problem.
Thank you.
How do you get the feedback of your customers, of your users? What are the means that you use to gather high quality feedback?
Yeah, that's something we implemented because it was a good practice from one of the company we acquired. It was when you do a home staging, you directly have this pop-up saying, okay, are you glad with the result? If not, what is missing? And we did a Slack integration and we see all the feedback, from it. And it's really key. Like, that's what I wanted to say with your user become your QA. We have all this feedback, but daily about things we can improve. And so now we have the technology in-house, we can totally understand what are the key things to improve.
And doing that, you had to make them accept at the beginning of the use of the product that they would give that feedback, or?
Yeah, so sometimes when the results are super bad, we have to refund.
No, but I mean something, the things related to, probably not GDPR, but that kind of thing can be considered as an annoyance by the user, and you have to make them accept upfront that they will get prompts to give feedback.
Yeah, but the thing is that with a white label solution, they don't even see that they are exiting Nodalview. Like everything is really in the app, and so to have a prompt about giving their opinion on it is not perceived as a it goes in the flow, so it's not really a problem for our users.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you had the chance, let's say, to manage a product without AI and now having something which is more AI native.
Yeah.
What are the fundamental difference in product management? Can be discovery, or it can be team management. What do you have?
I think one super important point is the price, the reflection about the cost you're going to have with AI, because we know that GPU cost can explode really. And so price comes super early in the discovery compared to other solutions. And in traditional SaaS, the marginal cost of a new user is approximately zero, where the marginal cost in AI is linear. So if you don't take that into account at the very beginning, then you just so make the economic works at the beginning is super important and different from traditional product management.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? No? Go for it. You're on a roll.
So yeah, you mentioned a lot the competition and these two players that acquire. You have a small one that kind of feels evident that you can acquire. For the larger one that was your main competitor, what made Nodalview stronger than that one? And linked to that, how were you able to survive, let's say, those 2 years and a half, more or less, where you were kind of swimming in between?
Yeah.
Was it just money, or there was something else that was keeping the company?
No, I think the context is really important here. This competitor, actually, they were super heavily VC backed, and they were cutting prices. So their margins were like they were losing money a lot. They were for sale, it was actually a competition to know who will acquire them. But yeah, they cut the prices, and so yeah, they were not profitable. So we really it was a strategy more to acquire the users, and it was really opportunistic at that time. So the context was really different.
And maybe as a follow-up, once you got to see the inside and open the box, what were the main advantages that Nodalview had, and maybe disadvantages that you had against that competitor?
But I think that we were really making a suite of solutions where our goal was to say, okay, if you have Nodalview, you don't need any other tool. And our competition was really strong in one area or another, but was not at the same level of our suite. And so that helped us a lot. And we also had a different pricing strategy that were more expensive, but more complete.
And where were you worse?
But we also realized that they tried to think faster, and that they had product principle that we didn't put, that we hadn't thought of, And actually, that's really good thing with acquisition and where you can keep the people that you really learn from each other. And now we have, like I said, like this feedback pop-up that comes at the end of staging. That's key for us, and that comes from them. And we didn't have it before, so yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Maybe that's a quick one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Sure.
You can pass along the mic. That would be lovely. Thank you.
You've mentioned experts, to leverage experts. I'm curious, what would be your take on what should we look for in an AI expert?
What to be? Sorry.
What should we be looking for in an AI expert?
I would really looking for people that could help us in the process, for to structure the process, the teams, for product launch and so on. Like really anything except to outsource the whole delivery. So I would really be looking for advisors, and that's why I think it's really more interesting for us, at least, to consider experts as coaches on a frequent basis, rather than for a whole mission that you have to do from start to the end.
I'm curious, what is the profile of that person? Because, historical speaking...
not really aware of any, so...
I can answer if you want.
Yeah.
So I'm also from Nodalview, and about like those experts. Honestly, like from the people we have now in the team, I think with AI actually what works best, and Sam said it as well, is the hacker, passionate kind of profile, but also who is willing to share a lot of knowledge. So I think that's kind of the best things you can find, is someone who's always testing new stuff, always on the lookout and stuff like that, and at the same time someone who's good at sharing, teaching. I think that's kind of the two things you need to look for.
Not necessarily a machine learning engineer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot of lines on a CV. It's more like a profile. I think it's a lot of people who just did it by themselves and grew into that role. But I think, of course, those really help for sure. And the academic profiles, they're super strong as well. So a bit of everything. But I think the passion is very important indeed.
Another question. More a business-wise question, but do you plan to become a technological brick or component yourself for solutions like, let's say, ImoWeb, or just continue to sell to the end user?
No, it totally makes sense to be really close from those IMO portals. It's actually one of our key strategy. To be integrated in CRM, in website, and so on. And then we just this week or last week we announced that Nesten, a huge website in France, just has our home staging on their website. So in the end, it's the end users who are able to use home staging directly on the website. So it could be totally the case that on a ImoWeb you use Nodalview technology in the future.
Maybe one. On the business side as well, how did AI affect your pricing strategy?
Yeah, that's a super good question. It could be a topic of a whole presentation, but we totally changed the pricing strategy because we try to be much more modular. So at the same time that we implemented AI, we implemented AI credits, so people can really use the credit for the features they want. Before, it was add-on that they had to pay on a monthly basis. It was really a nightmare. So now it's really much more flexible, and people use just the thing they want, and we can think in advance about the margin we're going to do on each feature with each model. So we completely changed, and it was a mess at the beginning for our clients because they were like, but now we have to play with AI credits and so on. So it was really complicated. It has been a whole topic for like everyone in the company. But yeah, we totally rethought our packaging and pricing strategy.
And how quick did it deliver on the top line?
Oh, can I show the graph of the revenue? No, but it had a positive impact. Yeah.
Pretty fast. Huh?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Maybe go for
It's
it
a-
because you have the mic.
Yeah.
We'll go this way.
It's a fast question, like is on your question. So when you say it's part of the strategy to be put on other websites, is it part also of your products when developing it? It's also on your roadmap how to be integratable to those different.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's super interesting because before we were just adding AI tools one after another, and honestly, in the platform, it was start to be a bit of a mess to find everything. And so we decided to do a photo editor, AI photo editor, where all of the tools are at the same place, but at the same time, we did AI photo editor SDK. So that had the exact ambition to be able to be plugged to other solutions like CRM and so on. So it has been the ambition when we really put AI as a core product pillar to be able to be embedded as well in other solutions.
Yeah. So the SDK was already from the beginning as a thought, or as at a certain.
Not at the very beginning,
yeah.
but then when we did this AI photo editor, then it has been the ambition at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you don't mind passing it on, I'll let her ask a question.
Thank you. Do you still consider doing AI product as different from doing product? And how do you treat it in your company now? Are those teams separate? Do you?
Yeah.
And what makes the difference, if so?
Yeah. For example, I don't consider myself an AI PM, but rather a PM that worked on AI project, amongst others. And so if I can rephrase your question, is about, if we consider now that we are doing AI product management.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
Is a product manager of AI different than a product manager?
No, what we decided is that our PM could work on AI project, but also on web and mobile projects. So the idea is not to create silos, but to make sure that our PM can work on the three topics. And this is a decision that can be different in any company, I think. But for us, that's what we decided, because we didn't want to have these silos and to make sure that the knowledge is shared across all the PMs. So it's sure that some big topics are managed by one PM, and if it's on AI, it can take a lot of time, and sometimes some other PMs don't work on this. But we try to apply good product principles in AI, just like we did for the rest of the product initiatives.
Thank you.
I think you had.
Yeah, you explained that you implemented, you started from vision learning, now you're using AI, which is more also at the vision side. Did you look at using AI to do some other element and getting maybe a little bit out of just photos, but going further?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So already in computer vision, we can sometimes challenge what we did in computer vision and try to replace it with AI. So an example is like the blue sky that we had, it's computer vision, but it could be AI instead. But there are different areas as well where we can implement AI. And one of them, which is a key change for us, is video. So we already have a technology to transform photo into video. So like you just take a picture as a real estate agent, it's really complicated to shoot correct video clips. It's not stable and so on. It's really complicated. But if you only take pictures, then with our technology, you transform those pictures into video sequences. Then you gain a lot of time. But here it's a huge AI challenge. It's pretty big, and it's different from what we did in the photo. So we really try to apply AI in different product areas. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. If I'm not mistaken, I think the pizza is coming. I think I saw Camille go downstairs. So I'll thank you all for coming. Thank you,